Just got back from Arizona. It's literally over 40 degrees Celsius colder here. Anyways, by video request of Tom Possessed, he wanted me to do nihilism. And for the writer, this guy keeps bugging me for his request. I'm gonna do your request next. Oh! This sounds pretty ridiculous, but my screen is frozen, and I mean that literally. There's so much ice on my screen, I can't actually scroll. Anyways, so for what I got, nihilism is a belief that life is without meaning. Most commonly, nihilism is presented in the form of existential nihilism, which argues that life is without objective meaning, purpose, or intrinsic value. Moral nihilists assert that morality does not inherently exist, and that any established moral values are abstractly contrived. Alright, that gives us a good enough definition to work with. I would say that nihilism, like most popular philosophies, is going to be probably pretty stupid. In order for something to appeal to a lot of people, it's generally going to be dumber. But, of course, that doesn't mean that nihilism's dumb just because it's popular. Nihilism is dumb because the concept is kind of stupid when you think about it. Now, of course, it is possible that I misunderstand what they mean by the word meaning when they say nihilism, right? So I think most people, and I'm pretty sure the dictionary is going to define it this way, but I can't check the definition because my phone is literally frozen. I'm pretty sure by meaning they mean some kind of purpose. And when nihilism came out, I think religion was a lot more powerful of a force. And perhaps by purpose, they're specifically referring to a God-given purpose, some kind of intelligent purpose which serves the master plan of a conscious being. Now, if that's what they mean by meaning, then I don't think that nihilism is a stupid philosophy. It's basically the same thing as just atheism. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that nihilists take this to mean more than just there's no God-given meaning, but that there's absolutely no meaning at all to life. There's no biological meaning either. You might as well just lie in a bed and die. There's no difference between doing that and trying to live a pleasurable life free from suffering. There's no point trying to be moral. Morality is all a bunch of subjective bullshit. There's no difference between chopping someone's head off and treating them with love and respect. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that seems like a pretty reasonable interpretation, I think, based on what I'm reading about the definition, and based on the nihilist community that I know. Now, there's a good saying I like from one of my favorite heavy metal bands, which is Northern, and that is, "We are slaves to our body." And I think there's a lot more truth in that than in nihilism. I think that there is clear objective programming within our bodies which control our consciousness, and our bodies gravitate towards survival and towards pleasure and minimizing suffering. And of course the exception is if life is overwhelmingly suffering, then our biology gravitates towards death. That being said, I think there's a very clear objective meaning to life, and that is to cheat death before you die as a security measure so that your existence is not tossed into a pool of randomness. However, it's also important to factor in the probability of success, and I think the probability is still very low in this day and age. You have a whole bunch of scientific sensationalism saying otherwise, but I have a big video about that. You can watch my video, Living Forever by Pseudoscience, and I don't think it's realistic to expect to cheat death in your lifetime if you're my age. Maybe if you're younger than me, I'm about 30 or something. So in the event that it's improbable, I would say that you shouldn't pursue it, because quality of life matters too. Trying to cheat death will significantly lower the quality of your life. In any case, though, we should take moderate preparation in case of futuristic technologies solving this issue. And the best way to do that, I would say, is to try to live a healthy lifestyle, right? Quit smoking, quit drinking, don't do any drugs, eat healthy, get a large diversity of food, get lots of physical exercise, take your vaccines. If you're sexually active, make sure to get an HPV vaccine. I might make a video on, biologically extending the quantity of your life as much as possible for as little effort as possible. Now, I think that moral nihilism is also kind of intellectually ridiculous. There's obviously clearly an objective component to morality as well as a subjective component. So for anyone who says there's no objective component, well, I just simply give this example, right? Now you have two people and you have two buttons, right? If you push the first button, it causes the first person to be in terrible, terrible agony, the worst physical pain they could ever feel. And if you push the second button, it causes mild discomfort to the second person. Now, which button do you push? Obviously neither of them, right? But if you have to push one, you're probably going to push the second button, right? And that's a pretty good demonstration of objective morality. It really is that simple. There's a lot of cases of morality where it really is just black and white. You can pointlessly cause catastrophic harm to someone for no good reason, and that's probably wrong, right? And you can simply look at this concept of moral profit. I talk about this in some of my videos, right? If you cause yourself 2 points of suffering to prevent 100 points of suffering in somebody else, this is called a morally profitable interaction. Because if everybody in society starts doing this, right, you are going to morally profit. The quality of your life is going to improve dramatically. For each 2 points of suffering that you cause yourself, somebody else is going to stop 100 points of suffering in you. Moral profit, baby. And of course you have the opposite, which is what most governments and human history has always done, which is we cause ourselves 2 points of pleasure to cause 1,000 points of suffering in someone else. I think that nihilism is more of an emotionally based philosophy. It seems to be motivated heavily by despair, depression, and hopelessness. And I don't think it's a good philosophy. I don't think it's intellectually sound, and I don't think that it's respectable. I would say a much better philosophy would be guiding yourself towards a higher quality and quantity of life, as well as towards moral profit. If you like this video, share it, subscribe, and if you have a video request, don't give me one, because I have a few video requests on queue and I'm getting a bit backed up. My next request is going to be by the writer, and it was on money and economics or something along those lines. And if you're the writer, I'd appreciate if you could just write your video request again down in the comments, because I forget which video you wrote your video request comment in, and I don't want to go through all my videos to try to find that comment. Now, another more important news as far as moral profit. This is a huge one. I've been working on a massive school de-indoctrination project, and all my research is done. I've been researching this stuff for the past 6 months. I've literally read every single school textbook and curriculum, and I have all the indoctrination written out, and I'm going to go exposing it from school to schools and giving it to teachers and educators. So if you want to help support this project, I would really appreciate it. I need all the help I can get. If you're not from Alberta, if you could just share it online, I would really appreciate that. Philosophy is absolutely 100% totally pointless if you don't connect it to the political system, so it actually makes some kind of difference.